Welcome to our channel, all friends. If you are new to my channel, please subscribe my channel and press the bell icon to stay update for new videos. Thanks. Let's start new video. With a pounding heart, I switched on the video on my mobile phone. But before that, I had thoroughly locked the room door, drawn the curtains on the windows, and comfortably lay down on the bed, holding a chocolate in my hand. Now the mobile was in my hand, right in front of me, and my eyes were fixed on the screen as if a spectacular movie was about to play. For me, it was going to be like a magnificent film. I was about to experience watching a live wedding night, and I was extremely excited. With my full attention on the mobile screen, I intently watched the scene that was slowly becoming clear. I had installed a high-quality camera in the room when decorating the bridal suite in such a way that I could clearly see the entire bed scene, and even some other parts of the room were covered. The most important thing was that everything was perfectly clear. That bridal suite wasn't for just anyone, it was for my sister-in-law. A few hours ago, my brother had gotten married, and my young, beautiful sister-in-law had arrived in their room after the rukhsati, departure of the bride from her parents' home. I was given the task of decorating their room's bridal bed with flowers. That's why, during this work, I had shown my ingenuity. Some time ago, my brother had gifted me a high-quality camera, and I had installed it in such a way that I could fully enjoy their wedding night. This idea came to me from my friend. My friend was a photographer. He used to take pictures at weddings and similar events. Often pictures of the bride and groom were also taken in the bedroom. So during those times, he would place his camera somewhere in their bedroom and then retrieve it later under some pretext, enjoying their wedding night all night long. Several times he had offered me to do the same, but I had flatly refused, saying I didn't want to do anything like that. However, when it was time for my brother's wedding and I got the opportunity to decorate the room, the thought immediately came to mind. Why shouldn't I also gain some experience? And with that thought, I installed the camera without knowing what I was about to witness through that camera that would completely blow my mind. My sister-in-law, who was sitting on the bridal bed, repeatedly looked around with nervous eyes, rubbing her hands as if wiping away sweat. Seeing her anxiety and restlessness gave me a strange sense of joy, and I was eagerly awaiting the coming moments. Then after a while, the room door opened and my brother entered. As soon as he came in, he unbuttoned his sherwani, took it off, threw it on a sofa to the side, and went to sit near my sister-in-law. I saw that she had bowed her head as if she was shadbun. I started watching the video with even more attention because the real film was about to begin. My heartbeats had started pounding at an extremely fast pace. My hands and feet were growing cold because this was the first time I was going to do such a thing. On one hand, my heart was saying that all of this wasn't right, but on the other hand, my emotions were getting out of control, blurring the line between right and wrong. The clock was ticking forward very slowly, and my eyes were completely glued to the screen. My brother took a box out of his pocket and extended it towards my sister-in-law. Perhaps it was a wedding gift. My sister-in-law, with some shyness and hesitation, opened the box, but I don't know what was inside that box that made her close it immediately in a panic. And then my brother grabbed her arm, pulled her close, freed her dupatta from her hair, threw it upon, and did something that made my hair stand on end. I had never even imagined that my brother would be so emotional that on the very first night of his marriage with his wife. My name is Alai, and I was the youngest and most pampered son in my family. I had one older brother and 3 married sisters. Mother had married off my sisters at a young age, and only my older brother and I were left with her. My brother had a very good job, so the household was running smoothly. I studied at the university where I had many friends, both girls and boys. Whenever they sat together, they would talk about love and relationships, and I would quietly listen to their conversations. Then one day, a friend of mine secretly told me something that made my jaw drop. I looked at him in disbelief, and he said, "You always sit quietly, so I thought there wouldn't be anyone in your life. So why not make you a partner in my secret, and we can both have fun?" I quickly refused and said, "No, brother, I don't do anything like that. I get really scared, and aren't you ashamed? Meddling in someone's privacy like that. Have some fear of God." Ramiz laughed loudly and said, "Oh, those people invite me themselves. They let me into their rooms. I put the camera on the faces of the brides, adjust their dupattas with my own hands, fix their bangles, touch them. Then those men have no objection. So if I watch their wedding night and have a little fun, what's the harm? I put my hands to my ears and said, Ramiz, you take money for taking their pictures, not for invading their privacy. This is an extremely wrong thing to do. But he laughed defiantly at my words and said, I wanted to give you a little glimpse too, but you turned out to be quite righteous. All right, leave it then. I'll enjoy it alone. Anyway, I only make videos for one night, no more. I set up the camera on the wedding day and quietly remove it on the walima reception day. No one gets a hint, and my desires are fulfilled. My home situation isn't good. I'm studying alongside my job, so mother has no intention of getting me married anytime soon. So these are just a few things that make me happy. He said this brazenly, slapping his hand in the air and letting out a guffaw, and I was left staring at him. That day, when I returned from university, I kept thinking about Ramiz all day. I used to think he was a simple boy. In the evening, he worked on photography all the time, and from morning till afternoon, he studied at the university. I had never seen him talk much with any girl, which is why I considered him a virtuous person. But now I realize what a huge devil was hidden inside him. After that day, he repeatedly insisted that I join him in enjoying the videos, saying it wasn't fun watching alone. But I didn't agree. Then one day he came from a wedding and said that this time he had double the fun. Hearing Ramiz, I looked at him in surprise, and he said that all the beautiful girls of the family had come to stay there. I installed a camera in one room and even in a washroom, and then, along with the wedding night, I also watched videos of those girls changing and so on. I had a lot of fun. One or two girls were so beautiful that I saved their videos and quite a few pictures too. When I'm not making wedding videos, I'll watch their videos. Now you can watch their videos if you want, right? You won't feel ashamed then. I immediately refused Ramiz and said, no, brother, I don't want to see anyone's videos or pictures. I'm telling you too, stop these actions. Don't cast your eyes on others' honor. Hearing me, Ramiz let out a crude laugh and then, without saying anything, got up and left. After that day, Ramiz never offered me anything like that again, because he knew I wouldn't agree to such a thing under any circumstances. For me, it was an incredibly wrong act. I even wanted to stop Ramiz, but I didn't want him to get angry with me, so I didn't bring it up again. We had been studying together like this for a year, and in that year, I had clearly understood that it was Ramiz's nature, and he wouldn't stop this work. Perhaps he had even chosen this profession so he could stay close to young and beautiful girls and exploit their beauty. Touching them and getting close to them under the pretext of taking pictures was his favorite pastime. I didn't stop him again, nor did I say anything, and our friendship continued for a year like this. Half of my studies were complete when mother suddenly started falling ill. That's why mother decided to get my brother married. But as soon as I heard this, I created a fuss, saying that if my brother got married, so would I. I had to do everything with my brother. Hearing me, mother laughed loudly and then said, I'll get you married too, but let the elder sister-in-law come first. I can't handle so much work alone. When the sister-in-law comes, she will also bring your wife after the ruksati. My mother loved me immensely, so when I told her I had fallen in love with a girl, mother had no objection at all. Instead, she said, first I'll marry off your elder brother Afzal, then I'll arrange yours with your choice. Mother started looking for girls for Afzal brother's marriage, and my married sisters also fully supported mother. Within a few days, mother chose Rizwana to be my brother's wife. However, when my brother found out, he said he wasn't ready to get married yet. But hearing this, I got angry with him and said, because of you, I'll also remain unmarried. You're about to turn 28. Your marriage will happen first, then it'll be my turn, right? Mother also tried to explain to him that he was of age and should get married so she could see happiness in the house. But for some reason, my brother was completely unwilling. His demeanor was strange, as if he didn't want to get married at all. He subtly refused mother several times, but she argued and fought until he finally agreed. That's how his engagement with Rizwana, my sister-in-law, was finalized. The house seemed to fill with joy. I teamed up with my sisters and made thorough preparations. At the same time, I also told Shehzadi that once my brother got married, I would send a proposal for her. Shehzadi was my maternal aunt's daughter, and I loved her immensely, but I hadn't told anyone at home about this. Yeah, and I hadn't even mentioned her name to mother. I wanted my brother's wedding to happen first, and only when the matter of the proposal was fully settled would I take Shehzadi's name. After my brother's engagement, a 6-month period was set for the wedding. 6 months flew by, and happy days arrived at our home. There was commotion and noise everywhere. When all my sisters gathered, they said, "We need to arrange a really good photographer. We want the pictures of every wedding event to be excellent." As soon as I heard this, Ramiz's image flashed before my eyes, and I immediately and sternly rebuked my elder sisters, saying, "Beware, no one is to talk about a photographer. No outsider male will come to take pictures of the women of this house. I don't like all this. If you want to take pictures, take them on your mobile phones." Hearing this, my elder sisters were surprised, wondering what had suddenly gotten into me. I never used to talk like this, nor were there any restrictions on these things in our house. But this time, the way I spoke, they all looked at me in astonishment. Then I told them that those strangers touch the women of the house, come close to them, and God knows what else they do under the pretext of taking pictures and posing. I don't like all this. Hearing me, my sisters fell silent, and we didn't arrange a photographer. When the wedding day arrived, Mother said, "It seems your brother. No joy at all. He's quietly wandering around. You should decorate his room well." Hearing this, I immediately ordered a large quantity of flowers and spent many hours decorating my brother's room with my own hands. But for some reason, while decorating my brother's room, a desire stirred within me. The thought of Shehzadi began to bother me. Then I thought that my brother is a quiet person, not very excited about marriage, so what would his wedding night be like? Why don't I watch their wedding night with my own eyes? As this thought came, I cursed myself and shook my mind, but slowly the devil gained control, and I thought, what's wrong with it? I'll watch it and then delete it. I won't save the video or watch it again. And anyway, everyone in the world does such things. What's wrong with it? My heart offered this justification itself, and I quietly installed the camera in my brother's room, the one he had gifted me. A little later, my sister-in-law arrived after the rukhsati, and my brother and sister-in-law went into their room. I came into my room and sat down. Now the screen was in front of me, and the scenes were slowly playing out. My brother gave my sister-in-law a gift, which was a large box. My sister-in-law was sitting nervously. She took the box from my brother's hand, opened it, and then, seized by fear, closed it and looked at my brother. My brother pulled her dupatta away and threw it, then grabbed her by the throat. He squeezed her neck so hard with his hands that my sister-in-law started struggling. Seeing this scene, the ground slipped from under my feet. I couldn't believe my eyes what my brother was doing. For a few moments, I watched in silence, and then I realized that if I didn't intervene, my brother would kill his newlywed bride. As this thought came, I ran to my brother's room door and started banging on it loudly. My sisters came running, asking what I was doing and why I was disturbing them. I told my sisters to somehow get the door open, otherwise my brother would kill my sister-in-law. Hearing me, they all got worried, and then my elder sister knocked on the door and called out to my brother. When the door didn't open, my younger sister brought the key, and then, after unlocking it, we entered to find my sister-in-law gasping for breath. Her neck was in my brother's hands, and he was in a frenzy. With great difficulty, my sisters separated sister-in-law and my brother. Then, pushing my brother aside, they started questioning him. Just then, Mother also arrived. My brother angrily stated, "I never wanted to marry, but you people crossed all limits and made a wretched woman my wife." Sister-in-law, who had somewhat composed herself, started crying bitterly upon hearing my brother's words, while Mother slapped my brother across the face. "How dare you speak like that about my daughter-in-law? She is a respectable girl from a reputable family. You must have misunderstood something." At Mother's words, my brother picked up the box and presented it to Mother. In a few moments, all those pictures were in Mother's hand, and upon seeing them, I myself was drenched in shame. They were sister-in-law's private pictures, perhaps taken in a washroom, while sister-in-law was crying terribly, saying, "I know nothing about this. I don't know when, who, or where these pictures were taken. I am innocent." She was weeping uncontrollably with both hands covering her face, and my brother was verbally abusing her. I asked my brother, "Who gave you these pictures?" He replied, "I don't know." After the rukhsati, when I came home, A child stopped me at the door and gave me this box. After opening it, I couldn't control myself. If I could, I would have taken her life. My brother's anger was still sky high. Mother gave those pictures to my sister and ordered them to be burned. At the same time, she asked sister-in-law if she had any idea when and how these pictures were taken, but sister-in-law shook her head in denial. I was silently observing this scene. I was beginning to understand the situation. I had also installed a camera in their room. What if something similar had happened to sister-in-law? Ramiz used to do such things too. That's why I immediately took sister-in-law aside and said, "Mother, such incidents happen very frequently nowadays. Sometimes there's a camera in a shopping mall's changing room, and sometimes these photographers install cameras. That's why I was against photographers." My heart pounded loudly as I said this, because I had myself installed a camera in my brother's room. Hearing me, Mother started nodding. Then my elder sister asked, "How did you know that brother was about to kill sister-in-law?" Saying this, my sister looked at me intently, and I became embarrassed. When I couldn't come up with an answer, I said, "I had a strange dream. That's why I just ran towards brother's room. Otherwise, how would I know what was happening inside?" Hearing this, Mother thanked God that I had alerted them all at the right time, and sister-in-law's life was saved. My brother had stormed out of the house in anger. Mother, crying, consoled sister-in-law. The next morning when I reached the university, Ramiz smiled at me and said, "Your sister-in-law is a very beautiful woman. I haven't seen such beauty till today." As he said this, strange expressions crossed his face. He had also been at the wedding last night, so I looked at him closely, and then I suddenly asked angrily, "Did you give those pictures of sister-in-law to my brother? Surely you must have taken that picture of sister-in-law somehow, right?" Hearing me, he laughed loudly and said, "Yes, your sister-in-law went to stay at a wedding, and I had installed a camera right there and recorded those apocalyptic moments. Then yesterday I came to the wedding, and when I saw your sister-in-law, I thought, why not tell your brother that I've already seen your sister-in-law's beauty? That's why I gave him those pictures, but rest assured I don't have anything now. I've fulfilled my desire." Saying this, Ramiz kept laughing, and it felt like a punch to my heart. I wished I had stopped him from this path earlier, so he wouldn't have brought such dishonor to our family. I grabbed his collar, and friends came to intervene. I couldn't tell anyone how despicable his actions were. However, when I returned home, I told my brother everything, because he had been considering sister-in-law as a woman of bad character. Hearing all this, my brother was astonished. Then he went with me to the police station and filed an FIR against Ramiz. When the police raided Ramiz's house, they found many such videos and pictures in his bedroom. Ramiz had been taken away by the police, and my brother's heart was cleared regarding sister-in-law. My brother thanked me for opening his eyes at the right time, otherwise, he might have divorced sister-in-law. I myself was ashamed in front of my brother that I had been swayed by Ramiz's friendship and made the mistake of installing a camera in their room, but I couldn't confess this to him. I thank God that because of that camera, I hadn't seen any inappropriate scene, but instead saved my brother's life at the right time. The news of Ramiz's deeds spread throughout the entire university. Everyone was shocked that a seemingly simple, decent, and hardworking boy was, at heart, so ill-intentioned. I thank God that I hadn't watched any of those objectionable videos with him. Otherwise, perhaps I would never have been able to take this step against him. 3 or 4 months after my brother's wedding, I spoke to Mother about Shahzadi. Mother had no objection, so sister-in-law herself took my proposal, and Shahzadi and my engagement was finalized. Soon, Shahzadi and I are getting married, but I've already told my family that no photographer or cameraman will come to our house anymore. My sisters themselves are now fearful. They neither use changing rooms in shopping malls, nor do they go near photographers at weddings. Today's era is full of trials and temptations. We can't even imagine what the next person might do to us, which is why we need to exercise great caution. Rizwana, my sister-in-law, was a truly respectable and good woman, but Ramiz completely undermined her honor. It was a blessing from God that the whole truth came out at the right time. Since that day, the women of our house have adopted extreme caution, and we men have also learned to lower our gaze. Because honor isn't just for our own homes, but also for the sisters and daughters of others. Photographers like Ramiz are seen at every wedding nowadays, touching the bride in various ways, getting closer to her than the groom himself in the name of a shoot. I'm surprised by those men who have no objection to this. Is your family's honor so cheap that you hand it over to a stranger for a few memorable pictures? In some places, the groom and family members are nowhere to be found, and the bride is alone with this stranger, sometimes in a room, sometimes in a bridal suite. For God's sake, be careful and don't hand over your family's honor to strangers in this way.